So a few weeks ago, I picked up another Roja fragrance, and this time around, I picked up a pretty hyped one, and that's Roja Oceania. My test drive's over. I've now given this quite a few full wearings, and it's time for me to give you my 2 cents and let you know whether or not I think this is worth a whiff and sniff. So today, I'm going to be breaking this bad boy down. I'm going to give you the ins, the outs, the ups, the downs, the forwards, the backwards on Roja Oceania. So stay tuned. Cue that intro. What's going on, my beautiful fragrance family, and welcome back to My 2 Cents. I hope each and every one of you are doing freaking phenomenal today. My name is Brian, and this is the channel all about helping boost your confidence through the art of fragrance and helping you become a lasting scent memory. So over the past year or so, I've definitely learned to appreciate and become, I guess you could say, a Roja fan. I have quite a few of his fragrances now. Most of those I have purchased. I have gotten a couple through Roja, so I do have to say thank you for that. But this one I picked up about 3 weeks ago. I got it a little discounted, but not that much of a discount. And I've heard a lot of hype behind it. Before we get into, the whiffing and sniffing, let me know, have you tried Roja Oceania? And let me know what your 2 cents are. I'm always curious. I always like to know your opinions on things. I know we all have different opinions. We got different skin. We got different noses. So let me know, what are your 2 cents? So I have given this 5 full wearings now, and I'm ready. I'm prepared to give you my 2 cents. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into today's whiffs and sniffs. Just like any full review, I'm going to show you the box presentation real quick, and then we will get into the actual fragrance. If this was a review just based on presentation, I think the presentation is awesome. On the back here, you're going to have some information about where some of the proceeds of each bottle go, and they actually goes towards the conservation of our oceans, which I think is pretty stinking cool. All your legal information on the bottom. It slides open like so. And then you got these cool waves, and then the other side of the box. But that's the box. Whoops. All right, so now the bottle. Now, if this was just a bottle presentation rating, I would give this a 10 out of 10. I think this is a gorgeous looking bottle. You got Roja on the sides there. I love the cap. Let me see if I can get that to focus just on the cap. There you go. I mean, it says Roja right there on the cap. I love the blue Swarovski crystals up on the cap. It's a gorgeous presentation, gorgeous bottle. All your legal info on the bottom, and that is the bottle. All right, so let's go ahead and spray this on. I will leave the notes right up here for you so that you can follow along, but let's go ahead and let's get into it. I'm just gonna spray this back on for reference, but here we go. So the notes that I put up here are actually from Fragrantica. Now that I've put those up here, I'm going to put the ones from Roja's site, okay? Because they are a little bit different. I know Fragrantica likes to, add some things in there, some things that they might get, from the fragrance. I do appreciate that. They're not always right. This is what I get out of it. Now from Roja's site, it says there's bergamot and lime up top. I honestly don't get any lime. Maybe a little bit. I get a lot of astringent lemon. And this isn't like a chemical smelling lemon. It is just extremely astringent. Now, I could see people saying that it kind of smells like citronella up top, which I can agree. I absolutely agree. I don't necessarily get that citronella. What I get is more of like Murphy's oil with lemon. But I do love Murphy's oil, and I like lemon Murphy's oil, but I don't know how much I want it to be, as a fragrance. But the opening only sticks around for about 10 minutes, okay? So you get that very, very predominant astringent lemon, all right? And some might see it as salty or salinic. And I know that our noses play tricks on us. They go different ways. We smell different things. So I could see some saying this is a very salty citrus right up top. To me, it's more astringent. Even though it's astringent, it is a very natural smelling citrus, a very natural smelling lemon. Now, I get a whole lot of that, okay? A whole lot of that. Like I said, about 10 minutes. But as it starts drying down is where I've actually really started enjoying this fragrance. It creams up, all right? It gets creamy. You have this really nice jasmine, lots of supporting musks, lots of musk. But there's not just jasmine in there. I also get some orris because it does get a little powdery. Just a little. This isn't gonna be like your Dior Homme powdery. This is gonna be more of just kind of like a dusting. Like a, almost like flowers just pollinating. You're getting almost like a pollinated quality from it. A dusting of orris. Beautiful jasmine. I also get some vetiver in there as well. And this is just adding like a cleanliness to it. It's a very clean fragrance through and through, from top to bottom. It kind of smells like, you know, cleaner up top, and then it just gets really clean throughout the rest of the fragrance. Now, there is a floral note that is on the Fragrantica note breakdown. It's called Litsi Cubiba. I believe that's what it's called. Never smelled it before, but after reading up on it, it kind of makes sense why there's such a strong and predominant lemony quality to this. And the odor profile for Litsia, it's a very sharp, lemon-like, citrusy, almost sweet smell. And that's exactly what I'm getting from this. So I don't know if that's actually in here, but I think there is something that is really putting off that lemon and just popping that off, especially up top. Further in, not only do I get that jasmine, I also get a nice sweet geranium. I get some watery notes, possibly coming from some violet leaf. And the geranium could be helping that as well. There's almost like a eucalyptus minty quality to it. But it's really subtle. It's laying underneath everything. I think it's what it's doing is it's kind of just taking all that pungent, you know, all that citrus up top and causing it to just fade away, fade into the florals and helping, you know, support that jasmine, that vetiver that might be in it and helping balance the musks and everything in it. Once it gets into the heart, I really enjoy this fragrance. It really becomes something really nice, almost tropical, but more just refreshing. It's very light and airy. There's a really nice creaminess to it. I do get some oak moss. You know, as it starts fully drying down, oak moss becomes more predominant. I do also get a little bit of a green galbanum, you know, sitting in the background as well. I know sandalwood's in the Roja, you know, note breakdown. I do get sandalwood, but it's a nice creamy sandalwood, and that just really sticks around as it fully dries down. Now, on the scale of unisex, I could see this leaning more feminine to many noses. I will enjoy wearing this in the hotter months. I think in the summer, this is really going to shine. And here's the thing, with longevity, I do get actually really good longevity with this. I would say about that 7 to 8 hour mark. Projection is really heavy within the first hour. And it's a lot of that lemony, you know, astringent quality. But that astringent quality from the lemon dies down after about 10 minutes. And then what you're left with is a nice citrus, a very nice, natural smelling citrus. And the citrus, like I said before, even from the initial blast, it smells natural. It is just a buttload of lemon. Imagine just taking a lemon and just squeezing it in your face. That's the type of lemon I'm talking about. After that's all said and done, projection settles down. So it starts sitting closer to your skin, but you still get a nice sillage from it. I have gotten quite a few compliments whilst wearing this. I have just random people stopping me like, hey, you smell really good. Which is always a nice thing, especially when you're wearing a fragrance that you're not too sure about. But apparently to everybody else around me, they really enjoy it. But I could see this leaning more feminine, like I said. But gents, if you enjoy floral fragrances, Oceania could be right in your wheelhouse. I wouldn't say that this is an aquatic fragrance. I wouldn't say this is an oceanic fragrance. There is a salinity to it, but it's not like an aquatic salinity. There is a nice sweetness, so there might be some benzoin in here as well. But it's not the typical Roja benzoin, you know, that just beautiful, sweet, creamy benzoin. This is lighter. It's sitting further underneath the rest of the heart and base notes. But it's there. Now, I don't know what I was going to expect from Roja Oceania. I've heard a lot of people talk about how amazing it is and how, you know, it's simplistic, but you know, it's got great longevity, it's got a beautiful citrus up top. And I can agree with that because all of our noses are different. But to me, I would say the opening is actually what is gonna dock some points on my overall score for this fragrance. It's a little much. You know, I put this up against all the rest of my Rajas, my fresh Rajas, and this actually falls as one of my least favorites, honestly. I still think it is a really good fragrance. I don't think it's going to be for everyone. I think there's a lot of people out there that aren't going to appreciate the opening, but I can also see there's also going to be a lot of people who are going to appreciate the opening. But longevity, it does really well. Projection, first hour, hour and a half does really well. Then it sits closer to the skin. So in that aspect, it's actually a good fragrance. It's a really good fragrance. But as for overall scent profile, what would I rank it? I am going to give this a 6.75 out of 10. And the only reason being is just that opening. So it's more along the lines of like a 7 to 7.5, but because of that opening, man, it's tough. It really is. It's a little tough for me to get around, even after every single time that I've worn it. That astringent quality really tinges my nostrils. But once I get over that, and it's always about the dry down. It's never about the opening. We can't judge things on the opening because it's the dry down that matters, because that's what you're stuck with through the entire day. I know a lot of us are like, ooh, it's bright, it's awesome, you know, we love the opening, but you might not enjoy the dry down. And I know we talk about the opening a lot, but it's the dry down that matters. For the dry down, if this was like this the entire time with just the dry down instead of having that astringent opening, I would give this an 8 out of 10. But unfortunately, it's not like that. Again, I am not bashing this fragrance, and if you love this fragrance, then rock it, enjoy it. For me, those initial 10 minutes are a little rough for my nose. But that's my nose, okay? I love what it does after all that. But I'm just telling you, as a reviewer and the reviewer that I am, even though I might not enjoy every bit of this fragrance, you might. So it's one I would definitely say sample first, and I kind of wish that I had, because I might not have picked it up. But I am glad that I did. I'm glad I added this to my arsenal, because the more that I've worn it, the more I've appreciated it. And sometimes that's what you have to do. I don't know if I'll ever really appreciate the first 10 minutes, but I do appreciate what this fragrance does for the rest of its lifespan on my skin. Definitely not a cheap fragrance. Full retail on this is $400. Definitely a luxury brand. So this is, you know, gearing more towards those who can afford the finer things in life. But Roja Oceania, you know, if you can find it at discounters, I highly suggest going that route. I do not suggest blind buying it. I do not suggest blind buying any fragrances. But if you can find a sample or decant, do so and check it out and see what the hype's about. It might just become your next hype monster. But for me, it's not my favorite Roja. It is a good Roja, but ball's in your court. You gotta, you know, sample or test it yourself to see if you actually enjoy it, because you may. Let me know down in the comments if you have, or if you have tried Roja Oceania. Drop me a comment down below. Let me know what your 2 cents are. But that's it for me today, guys. I hope y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. And if you enjoyed today's content, then do me a favor and like, comment, share, and subscribe. And always remember, you are stinking beautiful. And until next time, happy scent trails.